the Fight listeners. Welcome in. We have Mr. Alex Bruce Leeroy Caceres with us today. And first, I want to apologize, Alex, because like I said, we've been bugging the shit out of you here recently, trying to get you on the show. So my apologies. But again, Will and I are huge fans of yours. We have been for a long time. So just starting off with a thank you, man, for hopping on.
Oh, thank you. I've definitely been preoccupying myself with other things. I've just been kind of like not really paying attention to social media lately.
Dude,
that's probably a good move.
Even if you were, bro, I can't blame you for not wanting to speak to a couple of jokers like Will and myself. You know what I mean? So, no, but appreciate you coming on. And first thing I just want to start off with is the nickname, Bruce Leeroy, right? So if you want to explain a little bit where the nickname came from, and did you give yourself the nickname? Did somebody give it to you?
Well, no, somebody gave it to me. I was just training one day at the gym, and people just started to tell me that I looked like the guy from The Last Dragon, Bruce Leeroy. And then I watched the movie, and then, they just started calling me that, and it just kind of stuck. Never really decided on a nickname, to be honest. It's kind of hard, when I think about it too. And I even thought about like making name changes, or even when I was younger, creating nicknames. It just seems so like, I don't know, it seems so weird to like call myself something other than who I am, it's just,
dude,
I'm
feel
this
you,
person,
man.
but I'm also this guy.
Yeah, that's like Greg Hardy, right? Naming himself the Prince of War. And then they were talking about it, and they're like, yeah, he gave himself that nickname. I was like, oh man, that's kind of random there, but yeah.
Congratulations also. I mean, you just fought, like, what was it, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago now?
About like week and a half or so.
Yeah, congrats on the win. 4-fight win streak's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going good.
Right on. You've had like a series of like different walkout songs for your fights. I know you walked out to the Cowboy Bebop song, and you walked out to Express Yourself this last one. What goes through, because I know there's like certain people want something like super calm to get in the right headspace. Some people just want to have something fun to kind of get their flow state going. Some people want to get like amped up. Like, what goes through your mind when you're choosing a walkout song?
I definitely do think slightly about like, I guess the setting, of the occasion, and it's a fight, or it's an event or showcasing event as well. So that definitely goes into the choice of the song. So I won't like choose, like Leave On by Elton John to what maybe, that's a pretty good song, but you know what I'm talking about. I wouldn't just choose any type of song just to come out to, but honestly, it's just really songs that I like. I like the song. It's a nice song, and I'm like, oh man, this is like a pretty hype song to come out to. Like it gets your blood pumping. The crowd would like it, and I feel like I can move to it. So,
I mean, Express Yourself was like it was like, as soon as you started walking out, I was like, here we go. This is going to be good. And that last one. That's awesome.
Especially with like the energy you bring, man. That's one of the things that we've mentioned on the podcast before. It's just like, well, I'm extremely out of shape, but just watching you walk out, I'm like, damn, I'd already be tired. By the time I got to the octagon, you're like waving your arms, smiling. Dude, and that smile never leaves your face. Where does that energy, where does that like attitude come from?
Well, I've been definitely giving it some retrospective thought as of late, especially as of lately, But I don't know. I feel like I really enjoy everything about it. I enjoy it so much that I kind of take myself out of the process. I can sit back and just observe it happening. Like I don't feel like I'm there. And it's an incredible feeling. Like you're there, but you're more all there instead of just in the body. Experiencing the pain and the all the movements and focus on what this guy's doing. And I'm kind of like seeing the bigger picture. I get to be able to sit, like I'm sitting back and watching a movie almost. And it's enjoyable to allow things to happen. We spend a lot of our time in our lives, resisting things. And then to actually allow yourself to be yourself. And like, it kind of goes to show you, like you should have no attachment to even your body, because when you actually start doing something really well, you're not even doing it. You don't feel like you're doing anything. You're kind of sitting back and observing your body do this action. And you kind of understand that this is just the nature of things. Things are happening, and allow yourself to happen. It's one of the greatest feelings. So I guess that's why I'm smiling the whole time, because I'm enjoying it, win or lose,
That's awesome.
Yeah, you hear about too, like like people talk about not trying to force certain things to happen in the fight, right? Like don't try to go for the knockout, don't try to force this and this, because at the end of the day, you're only in control of so much while you're in there, right? So I think that that's cool hearing that you just kind of take a step back and kind of let things happen and like trust in your abilities and stuff like that. That's super cool.
Not to say that doesn't mean not to be conscious of
No,
the
yeah.
of the endeavor. Stay aware.
Yeah. How much of it is when you're in there? Are you just like working off instinct, or how much of it is you trying to put these pieces together? Like, how conscious are you while you're in there?
Well, like I feel like I'm completely conscious the whole time I'm in there. I'm always like I'm always there. I'm always on. In a weird way, I guess like I'm trying to explain it is like I allow my brain to do its thinking for my body, but I'm not thinking with I'm not the brain thinking, what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The brain thinking is something that's happening that I get to observe. I'm just simply controlling the entire thing. Like kind of like if you focus on a picture, right? If you unfocus your eyes, you can see the whole picture rather than just focusing on one little spot, and get caught in the details and whatnot. So like it's a weird thing to say because like, oh, I'm thinking, but I'm not thinking. I'm more like intending or suggesting, and then my brain does the thinking on how to get it done, and my body completes the action, all within like a split second, I guess.
That's super. Is that something that you've had your whole career? Or is that something that you kind of like realized throughout it?
I feel like I feel like it comes like when, especially in my earlier in my career, I feel like it was more like I would see it as like in flashes. You know what I'm saying? Like there's like you'll be there in those moments, where you don't even notice you're getting tired. Like tired doesn't exist to you. It's like you're so focused on the thing that you're not even focused on your exhaustion, and you realize, holy shit, I'm not tired. What's going on? And you start functioning. I don't want to say perfectly, but efficiently, and you start functioning at this level where your brain and you're not worried about the results. And I think ultimately gaining that perspective, it's a very hard thing to do, especially in a competitive sport such as this one, to be in a state of mind where you're not worried about the results. You're simply performing the actions. And I think it will come in flashes, but the older I get, the more and more I can sustain that viewpoint, that point of view where I'm not worried about the results, and I'm just simply acting perfectly as I can in every single moment, rather than trying to see what's going to happen next or worry about what might happen next, or if I got hit, oh my God, I got hit, and worried about that, like, oh, I'm down on the cards. Forget about that. I want to be directly in the very moment that is constantly changing and never breaking that stride.
Because you don't want to get stuck in like the fear of what's coming next or anything like that. I could see.
Well,
that.
yeah, it's kind of like a perfect example was like during the fight, he took me down and I was able to secure a triangle, but and a lot of people were wondering what the fuck happened, but let me try and shed some light on that, once he took me down, I felt I kind of I wanted to see where he was going with this, and I noticed that he was trying to like take as much breaks as he could. So then I started to like trying to work out of there, and I was able to secure the triangle. But even when I secured it, my thigh was kind of over his jawline. So I wasn't on the neck, and I knew I wasn't. Even when I cut the corner, once I cut the corner, his forehead started to get on inside the divot of my knee. So
gotcha.
I wasn't squeezing him. And not only that, we have to look at this guy's previous fights. He always goes to sleep. He's not tapping.
Yeah.
So then they're like, oh, he's got the armbar, and I heard them screaming for the armbar, and I'm like, no, you seen what happened to the last guy that tried to armbar him? So like all these things are definitely whizzing by my mind, but at the same time, I'm like, I also think about like my old coaches, like especially John Crouch, like is to be patient, don't attach yourself to one movement. If you don't see it there, let it go and on to the next one. You got to have that mentality where you don't have such an ego to where like, oh, I'm good at this move and I got this move, I'm gonna tap him out. No, sometimes the guy's good, they're there for a reason. Fine, I'll let it go and move on to the next one and still remain dominant. And I feel like that's a folly in a lot of people's fights where they try to hold on to the thing too much or try to go after something that they think is there and which plays into the other part of the fight where like I know I had them hurt a whole lot of times and they were like, oh, why don't you just capitalize on them? And honestly, like I feel like I try when it's there, but at the same time, it's just I never feel like an urge necessarily to do that. Like, and like I was telling my wife the other day, like maybe I watch too much like kung fu movies, so like where they knock the guy down, you know, they let the guy get back up and they keep fighting. I mean, if it happens in a scramble or on the floor and stuff, yeah, I'm gonna try and sub you, and like you see me trying to go for it, but I don't know. I just never felt like, oh, I heard him, oh, get him, like, you know.
Yeah, you don't want to get that like tunnel vision, right?
Yeah, in a sense, you know, like, and I'll go for it if I can, you know, but I don't mind picking my shots, and I don't know if I feel like if I hurt the person, I know I'm going to do it again. I know I'm agile enough, and I like the fight, man. Honestly, I like to be in there as long as I can.
Yeah.
Man, so you seem to be a very cerebral fighter. You know what I mean? Just like listening to you right now, and it's just giving us a totally different perspective. Just thinking about how much of a cerebral fighter you are, it makes me wonder, you know, what got us to this point. What martial art was it that you fell in love with in the beginning? And when we think about the fights you've had, like what fight was it where you felt like you hit a different skill set or a different mindset, and where you noticed like, man, I just reached a different level?
Well, at first, you know, what got me into martial arts was watching Bruce Lee movies, you know, but I never really inclined or felt a way towards any specific type of martial arts. I knew that I just wanted to fight, you know, and, you know, find whatever could make me a better fighter. Like I like I like all types of them. I like for what they're worth. I like boxing, kickboxing, taekwondo. But ultimately I just want to put them all together and see how I move like that. I don't feel like there's like a moment or like a fight or a time essentially where I have like I hit a certain breakthrough and I'm like, oh, I'm having this crazy stride and now I'm at a different level of skills. I feel like it's a progression that I'm constantly doing, you know, and it's not like something that's like it's like I turned a corner now. You know, if anything, I'm always turning the corner. I'm like, it's like running on a track, you know, you're always making that big turn, you know, and I just focus on the task at hand. I see that I am getting better, but I feel like the progression, especially mentally, physically, and spiritually, is just always happening. And as long as you want to try and get better, you know, try and push past your comfort zones and your mental or spiritual limitations where you think that I want to stop because I think I know everything, empty that vessel again, know nothing once more, and then you'll see how much more you'll gain after that. So that's what I try to do, just in life in general, you know, just trying to find more knowledge that would express the truth of myself, you know, that where I can express it more honestly, which I'm ultimately trying to do. And I know that when we all get there, or if any of us get there, you know, it's like it's a perfection, you know, that's the only thing that can exist there, you know, but we have to kind of let go of our comfort zones, kind of our creature habits, you know, where we can let ourselves grow, because it's what holds us back. We're like, oh, well, you know, I'll do it tomorrow or put it off, or even sentiments that we might have towards certain people, like, oh, well, because, oh, he's this and this, and I've known him for this long and whatnot. Sometimes these paradigms, they just really box you in because we have like, we feel bad and we feel sorry, but we have to remember the wise man doesn't mourn the living nor the dead. You know what I'm saying? The best that he can do is perfect himself and lead by that example. And sometimes it's not just putting a Band-Aid over the wound. Sometimes it's opening up, cleaning it out, sewing it back up so it heals properly.
Yeah, that makes sense. I've heard you talk about how you really like what you learn about yourself with each fight. What is kind of one of your favorite things that you have learned about yourself?
Well, it's a reoccurring lesson that always happens every time you get into a fight, that you don't know what you're capable of. If you have to admit, you know, you don't really know what you're capable of. There's plenty of times where like I finish people fast and it shit happens, and like I can pretend and like I was planning that, and you know that's the way that I saw it in my dreams and shit. You know, I can say all that stuff, but honestly, like if you touch somebody, the reason why everybody has that surprised look on their face is because, you know, like, oh shit, he's down. You know,
Yeah.
like, I didn't expect that to happen. You know, so we like, and it's kind of like harkening back to the point where like you don't control anything. You have no control over anything. You know, same way where like you can kick somebody really hard in the face and the guy just doesn't seem like he moved or budged. And it's like, oh shit, I didn't expect that to happen. Like we can't control the nature of other things that we come into contact with. We can control our nature up to a certain point, but then there's a point where nature takes over. Like if you can control your nature, then you could stop aging. You know, you can stop certain things from happening. You can levitate. But you know, we are controlled to a certain point by the nature of things. You know, ourselves, the immortal self, maybe not, but this physical body, yeah, we're controlled by nature to a certain point. So it's like it's almost asinine to say, well, I'm gonna dictate the fight to this person the way that I'm going to do it this way. And to a certain degree, you can impose your will, but the other person also has a will. And that's where it becomes a fight. And that's why where everybody has a puncher's chance. You've seen fights, especially where people are losing, and then all of a sudden they wake up and throw a big overhand and destroy the guy. And then that person did not ever see that coming in his worst dreams, you know? So just shit happens, but yeah.
I've heard you talk about how you don't really watch sports, you don't really watch fighting. How much do you watch any fighting, or are you completely you don't watch it at all?
I watch some, like if they're on, you know, like I was last night. I watched up to the prelims of the last night fights. I was at my brother's house, and then I got late, and so I went back home to go to sleep. But like I'm not like I don't build a day, or how would you say, I don't dedicate time to watching fights. If I see them, I see them, and I watch them. I watched them last night because my friends were fighting from the MMA lab. So I got to see their fights, and that's fun always. But it's not something I go out of my way to watch. You know, right now I'm watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's pretty fun.
There you go. It's a little different.
That's awesome. So what is the main gym that you're training out of right now?
It's Zen Jiu-Jitsu.
Zen Jiu-Jitsu. Awesome. Okay, how long have you been there?
Well, me and the owner there of Enrico Coco, like me and him, we've been friends since high school. We wrestled on the same wrestling team.
Oh, nice.
And we train with each other on and off. But officially, I've been training with him since the last fight.
Awesome.
I would say.
And you said the name's Rico Coco?
Enrico Coco.
Dude, that's a legit name.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a legit name. So, man, and the other thing that I was thinking about too is because you have 31 fights on your record. Oh, those are 31 sanctioned fights. Now, a lot of people don't know you are considered to be an underground legend for a lot of folks that started watching fights way before UFC was popular, right? So, can you tell us a little bit something about that, man? Like, what are some of your memories from back in the day when you were finding the underground backyard fights in Miami?
Man, it was like this was around like the first time they started doing like organized fighting and stuff like that. So like I've been to plenty of fights like on the streets and stuff, and I even had like pickup fights where like people like make bets and stuff, like, oh, I bet I could beat you up, or because I don't know, I used to get into a lot of fights in school. Like I was like on vacation a lot, you know, so so like a lot of people knew that I like to fight and that I would get into a lot of fights. So that I had actually a lot of kids and some kids from other martial art dojos come and challenge me, like, and they want to fight me. And we had like so many pickup fights. We would either go to their gym or we would bring them to like the gym that I was training at with Enrico Coco, which was FFA, you know, or Young Tigers Foundation. And then we would like get into these fucking like underground fights, you know. Sometimes we wear gloves. Sometimes we wear gloves depending on what the guy wanted to do, and sometimes he wouldn't. But we started doing that, and I never got beaten there. And then I started training at an ATT in Kendall, and that's where I met Levo Martinez, you know, and that's where I met my manager. Hence, that's where I got my nickname. I would think I was like 17 going on 18.
Damn.
And they like, oh man, you're a pretty good fighter. How about you want to come make some money on the streets? And I'm like, whatever that means, let's go do it, you know. And then they took me to this place. First, they took me to like I guess you could say get levels Level's a gang hideout when he was all gang banging back then.
Yeah.
And we chilled there, and we were smoking and chilling. I didn't drink because I was gonna fight, but I did smoke a little. And then we were just chilling, and he took us to Perrine. And then it was like a big ass crowd, like a whole bunch of people out on the streets. And I never seen this shit before. And they had like the fence like blacked out with like garbage bags, so no one could look inside.
Holy shit!
And then there was even cops. Like the cops were the bouncers there. And I'm like, oh shit! Like, is this illegal? Like, this looks very illegal, but the cops are here. So I guess it's legal. And then they were having a cookout and shit. People were selling like barbecue plates. And then I remember like right before one of my fights, I was talking with I don't know if he was hanging around with me and Level's friends and stuff, but this guy, like, he did one of the most amazing things to me, and I'm always gonna remember. I was just standing there getting ready for the fight because we were waiting for Chocolate, and Chocolate wasn't on the scene, you know. And then this guy was sitting next to me, like talking something, but I wasn't paying attention to what he was saying. But he was rolling an entire blunt with one hand.
With one hand.
No, but like he broke up the weed. Like on his fingertips with the blunts laying in his hand, and it fell like directly in there, and then just rolled it up with one hand. And I'm like, I'm like, if I ever reach that level, I don't think I have to keep fighting anymore. But but in all seriousness, so they sent this guy Shorty Cash, who was I guess Chocolate's friend or something, because they said Chocolate was out of town, but we got this guy for you to fight. So then I ended up fighting him, and it was hard. It's hard to remember the fight. I seen the video, so I can remember by looking at the video. But this was my first like organized type of thing. So when there was a big crowd around me, and then you see just like it reminded me of Street Fighter so much because you had the people like on the edges like waving their money towards you and stuff, and it's like holy shit, like it felt like a video game, you know. So I got into character, you know, and I even like was doing some antics while I was choking the guy out and whatnot, and it was good. And then all of a sudden, Chocolate comes back from out of town, you know, and he's ready to fight. Obviously, he was like sitting in the sidelines, I guess, trying to peep my game before he fought me. And then, like, when I see Chocolate, I'm like, damn, this motherfucker's like 30, 40 pounds bigger than me.
Hey, Dana White has nothing on whoever was putting this together. I'm telling you right now, because this sounds super organized. They're selling plates on the side. Dude, they got cops. That's fantastic.
That's so crazy.
But that fight was crazy. Like he came in hard, but like he came in hard, and like I guess I was more scared of the movement of his punches than like the actual power of his punches. They were hard, you know what I'm saying? But like it wasn't nothing like I've never felt before. You know, but like I guess he was throwing them so aggressively and kind of grunting with it. I'm like, holy shit, like these things are more serious than they are. And I'm like that with a lot of the fights that I get into. Like the person looks so angry and mean and serious, and I'm never like that. And it's just hard for me to like, bro, like maybe like because he's like that, he's gonna hit harder than me, you know. But it's not, or he's stronger than me. But then like, oh wait, never mind, he's just a regular person.
Yeah.
And then, but it's pretty crazy. But it was a wild event, you know. And short after that, I got my first professional bout in an actual cage. So I became professional and kind of had to leave the underground fights alone after that.
That's so gnarly, man. People standing around waving the money around. That must have been wild.
Yeah, they were like, choke his ass out. I just remember some guy screaming in my ear, choke his ass out. Choke his ass out. And I'm like, all right. He was mad.
Dude, I remember on the season of Ultimate Fighter that you were on, I forgot who was fighting. I think it was Cody McKenzie. And they're doing like the way it was edited. They were like showing the crowd or the teams. They're showing cost check, and then they show the fighters real quick.
Was I saying that?
No, it cuts to you, and you're like, "Kill him" or something like that. It's so gnarly. It's so I love it. It's so funny.
That's fantastic.
Oh man, that's crazy, man.
All right, so Will, did you have any other questions?
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about the garden, man. What's your favorite thing in there right now?
It's got a few things. So I'll take a walk.
There we go.
All right, turn this thing around. Ow.
Damn, that's sick.
So, like, obviously everything's in the way still. I haven't really been able to organize, but I got most of the plants that I'm planting here. Got a whole bunch of herbs down there. This is a mini avocado tree. I got like
Damn.
mulberries and banana trees and other stuff. But yeah, it's
That's
pretty.
legit.
It's getting there.
It's getting there. That's awesome. I heard you have to. I have no idea if this is accurate or not, but I heard you have to like. Sometimes you have to like beat avocado trees and like traumatize them to start getting them to produce. I have no idea if that's accurate. I heard that one time. That's probably wrong, but I've lived my life thinking that because someone told me that once.
I don't know.
No.
I know that like plants that go through more stress have more like hardier yields, like nutrition in their yields because they have to go through certain stress. Like for instance, if plants go through drought, you know, if they bear any fruit, whatever, they would have more drought resistant fruit. But it's so embedded in their DNA that when we eat it, you know, it'll make us more hardier towards drought or less hydration.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
If you could only watch one more movie the rest of your life, which would it be?
Oh shit, Enter the Dragon.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Favorite genre of music?
Soul.
Okay. Do you have a favorite artist?
No, I like a lot of it.
That's the right answer.
There you go. Are you more of a dog person or a cat person?
I would say dog.
Nice, nice. Now, you were born in 88, right? So you're not really an 80s child. You probably grew up more, you know, remember more stuff from the 90s. So what's your favorite thing from the 90s?
I like the old school movies, man.
Okay.
Movies were better.
Original movies, not remakes. There's so many remakes now.
Well, remakes, and I feel like the movies now they're just like you can't see shit. They're all so dark.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. Do you play any instruments or have any hidden talents?
Yeah, I play harmonica, drums, a little bit of guitar, and
snaps.
a few little different instruments and stuff, and other talents.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other talents.
Like rolling blunts
Still
with
working on
one hand.
rolling the.
Still working on it.
Still working on it. So you mentioned Street Fighter earlier. You play any video games?
Oh, I'm a gamer for life.
What's your favorite game?
Okay, so I'm a big Fallout fan,
Okay.
but right now, it's all about For Honor.
For Honor,
Ooh.
okay.
Nice, nice. Now, Street Fighter. Obviously, you played a lot of Street Fighter, right?
Yeah,
Favorite character in Street Fighter?
Fei Long.
Oh, snaps. Okay. All right. And then last one here. Let's say after walking away from the UFC, Alex rides off into the sunset and
Lives on a farm.
there you go, planting
yeah.
more avocado trees.
Yeah,
Just out there beating up the trees.
I definitely want to. Keep my damn.
Oh man, well
I don't want to be a part of that if that's the case.
Will, that's all I got, man. Do you have anything else?
No, man. Yeah, nothing else. This is awesome.
Well, Alex, I don't know if there's anything that you want to plug, anything that you want to share, maybe your handles or something like that.
I only have my Instagram right now. I think it's easier to look me up by Alex Caceres though.
There we go.
We'll have it on the screen too. We'll have your handle on the screen too.
My handle's pretty long. Other than that, I am going to be opening up, hopefully, once we find the spot, a gym soon.
Oh, nice.
So it would be, I will still be training with my coaches and stuff, but we're making a wellness center. We're trying to make a wellness center because I'm going into business with my wife and my coaches. So hopefully we have a gym opening up soon here in Miami Kendall area. So that's the only thing that I could think about announcing.
Hell yeah.
Well, that's awesome, man. And again, I just can't thank you enough for hopping on and spending a few minutes with us. And This has probably been the most interesting interview I've done so far because in the middle of the interview, and again, just listening to how cerebral you are and just your perspective on certain things, like this is stuff that you can't, like you don't only use in fighting. Like your perspective on things is stuff that you can use in everyday life, man. So it's been inspirational talking to you, man.
Well, that's the point, man. I hope that that's the point. You know, like we have to stop looking at things we have to start looking at things with a little bit more discrimination for what it is and for what it is not. You know, like a lot of people, if I remember like giving like interviews and stuff, and people would like give me flack on like, you know, and it's kind of like giving him like LeBron James to kind of like shut up and dribble type of thing.
Oh,
But
yeah.
whether it's from a prince or a pauper, you know, the truth is the truth. You can either accept it, and if you don't, and you blindly accept something else that's false, then that just says a lot about the person's character, or the refusal to accept truth and knowledge would say a lot about the person's character. And usually those people don't want to see you grow because they're kind of maybe stuck in the same spot. Maybe they're stuck in a plateau and they feel that one might truthfully feel that this is it, or how dare you rise above me? And that's, you know, how dare you have better morals or intentions? Why would you raise the bar? You know, like, and that kind of shit, you know. But we should always be trying to illuminate and educate and, how would you say, bring each other to a higher plane of existence, you know. All
Raise each
true
other
wise
up.
people want to see people do better than them.
Oh man, I love it. I love it. Thanks again, Alex. It's been an absolutely fantastic interview. And again, if you don't mind just hanging on for a couple minutes, and for everybody else, thanks for listening to the Story of the Fight.